Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Dead Gremlin, doing another video, by God. Today, I am doing an Ultraman commission. Super big fan of Ultraman. Really excited to get to draw, my take on him. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys me thumbnailing different ideas for what I'm going to do, because I have no idea what I'm going to do with this commission. And then you're going to watch me pencil it and ink it and color it, and I'm going to jib jab all the way through. And hopefully there's some information that you can glean out of it for your own art. I mean, if not, I hope you have a good time anyway. So yeah, come over to my desk and let's get started. Alright, so we're starting off with thumbnails. This is kind of the skeleton of the final piece. This is where I find out what the figures are going to be doing, what the composition will be, the perspective. I like to get a lot of the perspective done in the thumbnails, because perspective's kind of a daunting task to me, just to do it, just to jump into perspective. So I try to find a vanishing point in relation to where the characters are in the thumbnails, so there's as little thinking as possible when I'm doing the final piece. So I started with this composition of our boy Ultraman punching this two-headed monster, and I like this composition. It's cool. I like the over-the-shoulder punching him, but I felt like you couldn't see that much of Ultraman. And then buildings, he's punching him into the buildings. And I liked it. I thought it was a cool idea, if it was in the context of a comic book story, that would be a really cool panel, but I just didn't feel like it showed off the figure enough of Ultraman, because this is about him, he's so ultra, we have to take in his ultraness, and I don't want to do a disservice to that. So now we're doing another composition, a flying knee attack to this Kaiju Man monster, and I like this one better. I like the top-down view of the buildings. I think it's more dynamic. I like that. I always like to put something in the foreground. I think it pops out. That's very much a Jack Kirbyism that I've learned, is for comics have that prominent foreground, middle ground, background. I always stick something in the foreground to pop out. It just makes it feel like you're in the scene with the characters. And that's the one that I went with, and I like that one. So now, jumping into pencils. So yeah, the beginning of the penciling is really light and loose, just getting the basic shapes. This part's hard to see, but trust me, magic is happening. I'm creating, I'm not trying to fool you guys. But yeah, roughing in Ultraman's head, his beautiful head, that's his moneymaker, so we've got to make sure that that's right. But really, going off the thumbnails, I really look at the relation of the character to the other character in the thumbnails. I try to make the thumbnails as prominent, or I try to make the thumbnails as close to what the final product is going to be as possible. Gotta get that beautiful, beautiful thigh muscle. I like how defined his thigh muscle is already at this early stage. I knew that this was going to be the thing that was going to bring people in, the thighs, and you got to make sure that we deliver on that. But yeah, the thumbnails are essential. I feel like early on in my drawing life, my professional drawing life, I guess it's professional, it's kind of up to your definition, but my professional drawing, I'll just say that because it sounds cool. Early on in my professional drawing life, I would not thumbnail as heavily or as do finished thumbnails. It'd be super, super loose, and then I would get to the page and just kind of not know what to do. And it's almost like I was doing the layouts on the final page, and that's fine if you are at that skill level where you can kind of do, and now later on in my career, I do looser and looser thumbnails. It used to be where if I didn't do very, very, very defined finished thumbnails, then I would be lost later. Same with penciling. I have to fully pencil. I have to fully pencil, with line art. Oh. Well, now we're to inks. Okay. So what happened here was a bunch of the penciling files were deleted, and I'm very sorry, but you can kind of get the gist, I guess. Drew in the buildings, drew in a new two-headed monster in the background, and now we're into inking. So sorry about that. I really felt bad when we were editing that I totally just like lost a penciling file, but we're on to the sweet goodness, which is inking. This is the most satisfying to me. I love watching inking videos. So yeah, we're going in, we're inking Ultraman's really nice physique, honestly. I mean, we're all thinking it. So inking is one of the most challenging things to get good at in comics, I feel like. Most people, even professional like artists I really look up to, started by fully penciling everything they did and sometimes inking, and then, you know, they had to gradually get into it. I like going through old sketchbooks of artists or old DeviantArt accounts of artists and seeing when they finally transitioned into inks and how long it took for them to get really you know, to the skill level that they wanted. And you know, no professional artist, I feel like, will tell you that they have mastered it. It's the art form that you keep learning every time. That's what's so fun about inking too, is you learn a little thing every time you ink a new drawing. So I'm gonna do an inking video that's just about my you know, process of inking and how I kind of wrapped my head around it, because I feel like with art, that's a big thing, is wrapping your head around a concept and getting it and making it work for you. Because you can hear the same things from different people, like, you know, thicker lines where the shadows are, thinner lines where the light's hitting, and you're like, yeah, I get that, and then you do it and your mind doesn't grasp it, and you have to find your own trick to make it work in your head. And that's how all of my comics work is like, drawing buildings, I found this trick and I made that work for me. So you kind of have, and that's hard to find just through like learning and videos and tutorials. That's kind of just something you have to find. So I'm going to do an inking video where I'm going to explain how I wrapped my head around it, but I'll do that later. But a little bit about Ultraman. I fucking love Ultraman. I'm really into the kaiju genre, the Toho films and tokusatsu, all of that beautiful media. I love Godzilla movies, so I got really hard into Ultraman during this quarantine. I've gone through and just tried to watch as many of the shows as I can and find my favorite one. I thought that was a personal fun thing for me, was like, what's my top Ultraman series? And so far, I really like Ultraman 80. If you guys have a chance to watch Ultraman 80, check that out. There's a really cool thing on Amazon Prime called Toku, I think that's what it's called, and it's a subscription, and then you can just get basically all the Ultraman series. So I've been watching that, and Ultraman 80 is my favorite because it's the most like Peter Parker-y version of Ultraman, I feel like, where he's got a normal-ass job and he's struggling with it, but he's also got to fight giant monsters. He's a teacher, and all of his kids are always on his case, and like, you don't care about us, you're always running away. And he's like, I've got to be Ultraman, and I've got to fight these giant monsters. I save you every day, and they don't appreciate him, and I love that. So I put in a bunch of little people, city people down at the bottom, just for scale. I wanted you to, even though I have the buildings, I feel like people are that way of you subconsciously knowing how big something is. And the key, I feel like, to drawing giant figures is to make sure that you have those size relations down. Like, that's why I put a helicopter next to Ultraman, and I just wanted you to know he's big. I feel like it's really hard. That was a hard thing to do early on, even with buildings, everything, is to make things not look like they're tiny. And the thing that's fun about Ultraman is the sets were tiny, and it's kind of fun to make that the aesthetic. Is like, maybe if the buildings look like toys, it's okay because it's Ultraman, and that's kind of the fun part of it, as long as you put human beings in there to ground it. Yeah, drawing these guys are a real kaiju from Ultraman. I can't remember the name, but I just made it a two-headed creature. I thought that was fun. I love the kaiju designs in Ultraman. They're so fun. They're not more fun than a lot of the Godzilla kaiju, but I feel like not more fun than all of them. Like Ghidorah is fantastic, Rodan's fantastic, Mothra, but you know, some are kind of bland in comparison to Ultraman kaiju. Like Ultraman kaiju just have that fun, childlike essence to them, and I like Ultraman kaiju designs. But the squid tentacle guy that he's flying, kneeing in the jaw, I made him up. He's an original dead gremlin, I should say. Alright, so now we're going in with the ruler, putting in some windows. Dude, this was real time. You probably won't believe it, you know, and I'll have to meet you and prove it to you, but this is real-time footage. The other one was sped up, but me putting in these buildings, I just am like lightning, dude. Look at this. Holy crap. Dude, if you could make comics this fast, that's what I want. I'm gonna get faster and faster. It's so funny, because I know, like, Frank Quitely has never gotten faster. He's just gotten better. And I like the idea of getting better. I haven't thought about getting faster, which is a big thing in comics. If you are an aspiring comics creator, it is a big deal to be fast. Like, I feel like a lot of artists can get away with, you know, average art. But if they're fast and they meet their deadlines, they get work. And if I could make windows this fast, I would never go hungry. But yeah, putting in buildings. Buildings are an interesting thing. If you guys want me to do a buildings video, let me know. I don't think I have the best buildings, but they're buildings that I like. Like, I like my style of how I draw buildings. They're kind of cartoony and kind of you know, they look sturdy and solid. Like they almost look like miniatures from a movie set, like real, like believable miniatures, not like you look at it and go, oh, those are fake. But if you guys want a video about that, and perspective, you know, tutorial type videos, that'd be awesome, and I would totally do that for you. Oh boy, now we're into those delicious juicy colors. So this is already been flatted for me. If you don't know what flatting is just where someone goes in and puts flat colors in on the figures and the windows and the buildings and all the people, just to separate them in Photoshop, so you have different colors that you can pick, and you don't have to sit there and fill in the shapes. That takes forever. I have a guy that I love who flats for me, and I send him a bunch of pages and he'll flat them all in advance. I used to flat my own pages, and trust me, you need to do it. If you're starting making comics, you need to do it to earn, to pay your dues, so to speak. But you will want to die. By the end of it, you'll be like, Lord, take me now. Please. But I got this flatted, so now I'm going in and I'm taking out the black lines. I took all the black lines out of the clouds because I want the clouds to feel far away in the sky. And now this is an interesting thing, because of the figures being so big, I wanted it to feel like, you know, as things get further away, air pollution, you know, smog and things, diffuse the figures. They diffuse objects in the way, you know, miles away, and make it look further and further away. So to make these figures really look like they're giant towering beings in the distance from the people in the foreground, I just went in and erased the black lines very, very lightly. And now highlights is the thing. So I put on all the colors that I like. I changed all these hatching marks and did a color hold on them so that they have, they're not so dark. I like that effect. It makes it look like kind of like 80s VHS Drew Struzan covers. In my head, that's what it looks like. It might not actually come off that way, but that's what I'm going for. And then I'd go in with a highlight, and that's what pops everything. Like, I put that in on all of his scales, and now he's popped out. And I love how effective that is. I watch a lot of satisfying video compilations, you know, and to me, inking and popping those highlights are satisfying in their own way. And now I'm trying to figure out a cool way that I want to do the Ultraman logo. I have a hard time, honestly, doing illustrations that don't look like comic book covers. And that's just me. So there you go. There's the finished, and I did a bunch of color effects, and that's not me doing anything new. I just went in and painted and made it look like that. So there you go. Thank you. I hope you liked the video. Subscribe, check out my Etsy shop, all that, and we'll see you next time.